time to tip things off here on the Benchpoints podcast, and we welcome you and thank you all for subscribing and watching. I'm sorry you don't have anything else better to watch, but I'm glad we can fill in the time. Sam, tell us where they can find us if they don't know about other avenues they can get more Benchpoints content.
Well, if you find yourself in a situation where desperate times call for desperate measures and you need to kill an hour on Spotify, YouTube, or catch some clips on TikTok and Instagram, you can find us. We're at Benchpoints Pod. We are the real deal. We're unedited and we're uninformed. So, come in. We like to engage with everybody. That's one thing I can say about us is that, any comment you bring, we're going to respond, whether you like it or not. It's just kind of what we're doing here. And feel free to call us wrong because we probably are, but we're going to stand by the stuff we say. So we appreciate you tuning in.
No, I agree. I think I love the interactions that we've seen so far. I think there's definitely some people who don't like us or our takes very much.
Just bookmark it and come back and give us our flowers when we're right,
That's right. Just own up to it.
Or watch me buy 17 jerseys that I've already committed. I'm going to have to get my kid a job to support this habit. So please subscribe so we can start funding my mistakes.
Let's kick off things with some bench points. One of the ones I have to bring up is the John Mateer, or as I heard somebody call him, John Mater, today on a local radio, and I nearly swerved off the road, dying laughing, because I never thought about pronouncing this person's name as John Mater. But now I see it. But I'm assuming it's John Mateer. And with his not gambling and the very odd inside jokes that he has on his Venmo account. Listen, we all send weird things. If I'm going to send Jake money for pizza, I'm going to put a mermaid emoji or something like that in there. Like, that happens, right? But come on, dude. Like, this is the worst excuse for a cover-up that I've ever seen in something like this. I mean, there's been some serious stuff, but come on. Think of something different.
Like, this is just a failure on whoever's, like, at both schools he's been at, PR stuff. Like, come on, like, you can't have public notifications on your Venmo. Like, no, you can't have any kind of famous stuff. Like, because people are just, like, requesting random stuff from these guys now that have these public Venmos. Like, you can't be there for that.
No.
It's just a failure on all parts everywhere that this is even happening. And how dumb are you that, like, the rules going in there that you can't gamble on? I don't know if it's sports, but college football. How dumb are you that you're going to even put that out there where it's questionable? Like, there's a decent chance he doesn't get to play this year because of this nonsense.
I mean, wait, really? You think he won't? There's a chance?
I mean, I don't know how hard they're going to come down on it because gambling's a big thing now. So I
sure, that would be wild. I honestly hadn't thought. I thought it would just be one of those like funny. Well, I kind of thought he would live and die as a bitch behavior segment, but I guess you're right. It really could be something if they were able to refrain back to it. But even if you privately send things over Venmo, all it takes for that one person is to screenshot that and turn you in anyway. Just don't do it.
Look, the lesson here is to speak solely Japanese and have an interpreter to fall on the sword. That
right.
is
nice pull. Nice pull right there.
Look, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because if anybody went through like the comments I make on my Venmos, as Brad stated, one, people would be asking if I was smuggling drugs throughout middle of and two, they would probably ask Mary, is like, are you sure about him? Because, my wife is, we've been together for 11 years and she'd start having some questions about some of the stuff I've sent Jake and my buddy Jeff. And soon to be Brad over here because, I put some side comments in there. Look, until anything's proven, I'm on this kid's side. I think it was a dumb thing to do, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, prove me guilty until then, beyond a reasonable doubt, y'all. So however the school handles it is how they handle it, but the kid's still getting a paycheck. So I don't think he has much to worry about. But to Jake's point, if this comes back and it's like, hey, yeah, it turns out you were betting on these games and you just like literally pointed right at the evidence and be like, here I am doing this. Come on, kid, go back to school, hit your classes, learn a thing or two and then try this again. All right, kid?
And there's no doubt every single program in America came back the next day and had a class over delete everything you've ever done, delete your Venmo. Yeah. I mean, that was like an immediate kind of a gut reaction to those things, which as it should be.
The one thing my dad taught me when I was a kid is don't put anything in writing. So
yeah. Hey, you know what?
Smart man.
That's fair.
Here I go commenting on YouTube videos, though. So
That's funny. Jake, what about another bench behavior?
Look, so I don't know exactly what she's talking about, but Boo Carter here at UT, I don't know what it is with UT and moms getting involved with the sports programs, because we lost Hunley Hatfield because his mom thought he should have been starting on a team that made it the Elite Eight the next year, and
Yep.
it would have been nice to have another big guy. So they thought he should have been starting so he could go average like 5 points at Louisville. I think he actually was successful at Louisville, but then he ends up at NC State, does terrible there, and to my knowledge is not playing basketball anymore, where he could have been a star in his home state. And now you got Boo Carter doing the same thing. His mom is all like, it looks to me from what I'm reading that she really likes Dion and is just thoroughly impressed and wanted Boo to go there. And I don't know. It seems like Heupel says he's making all the right steps, but his mom's getting in the way. And then we had Nico's dad get in the way of that whole thing. And it's just, the kids they're not kids anymore. They're 18. They're grown adults. Why are the parents so involved right now? Like, come on, get over yourself.
Boo is also, he's had a tough off season. He's been kind of had to put up here, and everything that I've heard, he's doing great. I mean, he's had to work his way back in. Now, Miss Carter has not had to do that. She hasn't had to work her way back into good graces with her team. She can say whatever she wants. But the problem is she needs to stay off of the social media, because this is just automatically putting negative connotation on Boo, which has been very, very positive from everything that I've heard, that he's doing great in practice. People are accepting. I mean, he just seems to really turn the corner. And then she has to go and make it about her. Stay out of these kids' situations. They are grown-ish, but still, what is your place? And how is that going to benefit him? And I think the most frustrating thing about the comment that she made is saying that if, due to Brazel's arrest, that if it was Boo, that would be all over social media, and that situation wasn't. Well, now it's definitely not going to be brought up, because now she's making it about herself and bringing it more attention. She's dragging her own son down.
Yeah.
And I think that's sad. I think it's genuinely sad.
yeah, so here's what I'm going to say is just about parents in sports. Like at a certain point, these kids, these young adults who are going into these programs and these conferences and these schools with this big money and like this big attention, you eventually got to cut the cord to the parents. And I hate saying that, because I'm a dad myself. At some point, I'm going to stop coaching my kid. At some point, I'm not going to be the most important person in his life when it comes to whatever sporting decision he makes or whatever education decision he makes. And that's just something we're going to have to learn to live with. But Jake and I saw this when we were in Connecticut at a Cheez-It tournament, and Leaky Black's dad was giving him the business on the sideline. And part of me just wanted to say to Leaky, and be like, dude, just walk away from this guy. He ain't nothing right now. Right now, you're on North Carolina on a team that eventually made a Final Four in a national championship game. I mean, at some point, just walk away from these folks, because I know they're the parents, and I know you love them, and I know they raise you, but at some point, they're your downfall. You know, if they're getting involved in the sports like that, you've got to get them out. Like, yeah. Sure, like I want to be like TJ McConnell's dad, and like getting in on that interview and telling the world how proud I am of my son, but also just being at arm's length. You know, I want that relationship. I don't want to be on social media trashing whatever situation's going on with a kid that is still learning, still growing.
Nice.
So I do have one more bench behavior if we have time to get it in.
Yeah,
I know it's been planned, but this was a very recent event. Arizona just released what their new court is. And I'm sorry for anybody who's a fan of that monstrosity. Y'all doing too much. Let a basketball court be a basketball court. That big A in the middle of that court was sufficient enough. Just like Mackey's got the big Purdue, the big P symbol in the middle, and the little Katy court and all that fun stuff. Assembly's got that big IU symbol that everybody knows. Kentucky, Kansas, Duke. They're all very simple and they're all very powerful, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? This is the KISS method 100%. Y'all doing too much with that big, stupid cactus and a bunch of mountains. This is like Oregon 2.0, only slightly better, but still not good. That's just like being the kid with a second worst grade in class. It's like, congratulations, you're not the worst, but Christ almighty, like, get it together.
Who has the gray court? Is it Kansas State? That hurts my eyes with all the like diamond ripple shape.
Yeah, Kansas State. Yeah, because they have the purple. It has the purple font over the top of it, and it is
Just terrible.
Awful to look
I
at.
would take that over Oregon and the new Arizona. Out of all of those, though, like I can't even count Vanderbilt's court because that is dump truck of a basketball arena. The people there that go to Vanderbilt love that. Like I was Googling images of that just to remind myself how much I hated it. But the fans love it because they're like, oh, they're at a concert. And it's because it's a music hall.
Vandy has a pattern of liking things that the rest of the sport doesn't. They were all about that Whistler dude in baseball, and I could not wait till somebody just slapped him upside his face. Like that was going to be the highlight of my moment whenever somebody did that. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But they weren't as good, so I didn't have to deal with listening to it this year. But golly, and then they like that court. I'm like, the Vanderbilt just likes annoying things. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope we get some Arizona fans like that come and comment on this because I want to know how y'all feel about it. Like again, when it comes to basketball, keep it pure, keep it simple, right? This is not pure, this is not simple. Like your court was absolutely a blast to watch college basketball on because it had that big powerful A right in the middle of it and it was pretty cool. And you had some great programs come through there that honored that court. And now you got like a cartoon on there and it's not for me. But again, here I am in the middle of Indiana, so what do I know about Arizona basketball?
Well, speaking of Vanderbilt, let's go ahead and begin our mid-major conversation. What are maybe some top mid-major teams that we're got our eyes on for this season? I know the first one, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. The ultimate mid-major, the king of mid-majors, Gonzaga.
Editor's note, Vanderbilt is not a mid-major.
Oh, I'm sorry. In my eyes and in my heart, I know that they are.
They're the mid-major of the SEC. However, I think they're a tournament team this year, so we'll see how it all.
When you have to find somewhere when a concert's not playing to play your games at,
yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, welcome to Dump Truck Arena.
That's right,
folks. You've got a hell of an education that you spend $125,000 for, and you get to watch a court on a ice skating rink.
Gotta love it. Some people do love it. They have to.
They do.
Yes.
The fans look happy. All seven.
But let's talk about Gonzaga.
I don't know if you can even consider Gonzaga a mid-major anymore. Like it's only due to the fact
that's kind of why I wanted to do it first. Like,
it's only due to the fact that they play Nobody State and Sisters of the Poor and Blind Kid University for their conference. They're a good enough team that needs. Like, I'm excited for them to get into whatever the Pac-12 is going to be next year because I'd like to see them against some actual teams throughout the year, and I think it may help them in the tournament that they don't go 2 months before without seeing an actual game of competition. But for this year's team, it's one of the weaker Gonzaga teams of recent past, but I don't mean they're bad by any stretch. I think the point guard area, they did not do a great job of filling Nemhard's role. There's a lot of weight being put on Still Venters, who hadn't played in a couple years. But I absolutely love, one of my favorite players to watch play, Grant Foster. The guy is just a walking bucket. Yep. He does so much for it. Last year wasn't the statistical great year that we thought, but he still almost averaged 15, 6, and 2. If you go back another year, it's 21 and 6, or 20 and 6. The main difference was his 3-point shot wasn't going. That could, in a Mark Few offense that's going to be fast and light and likes the 3-point shot, it wouldn't shock me to see those numbers get 22, 23, 24 a night. I love Graham Ike, been a big fan of his since Wyoming. The dude is just absolutely dominant if he can stay on the floor, either fouls or health. Like, he just can't seem to stay out there. Then you add a few more shooters with Adam Miller, who's a great shooter, shot 43% from deep for Arizona State last year. And Davis Fogel, he's going to be interesting. It's another 6'7" wing to put out there with Foster. But his jump shot, I don't know if you've watched it. It's slow and kind of a little bit broken. Gets some side stuff to it. Mm-hmm. But he's good enough at shooting it. Like, I don't know, at this point, do you worry about changing it? Or do you just let him have it? I think he's going to need more space to get that off than what your good shooters in college basketball do. We'll see, because he's not ultra athletic, but he's very smart, handles the ball great when he drives, makes good decisions. So he's going to be a good player. It's just, I don't know how well his shot is going to translate to this level.
Look, I'm with you. It feels like a weaker Gonzaga team this year, but like you said, Ike is in his 17th year as a college basketball player. But that guy's just a walking double-double. The one guy I didn't hear you mention that I'm kind of excited about because I watched him last year was the different Braden Smith. the one who wasn't healthy at the end of the year, but he was a lot of fun to watch. And that kid was putting up about 13 points per game, 14 points a game last year when he was healthy. And then the other guy that I'm actually kind of excited about, you said Davis Fogel, that is like a top 50 freshman, but their international signee, Mario St. Super. I watched some highlights of that kid, and it's pretty exciting stuff coming out of there. Again, they're going to be your perennial top 25 team. They're not missing any tournaments anytime soon because they're playing in the WCC. So who outside of St. Mary's, who's the real competition over there, it's going to be a 1 and 2 kind of thing every year, year in and year out until next year, where I believe they're switching conferences, right? Is it next year?
Pac-12.
Yeah, the resurgent but not resurgent Pac-12.
Yeah, the good half of the Mountain West and a few other teams, and then
it'll be more competition next year, so I'm curious to see how that all pans out. But he's one of those guys where it's like he puts together teams year in and year out, and he makes the tournament, and then you just don't want to see him. Of course, the last couple of years they've had a couple early exits and some Sweet 16s and stuff like that, but they're far from the Final Four perennial national title contender teams that you were seeing last 4 or 5 years. When they were bringing out National Player of the Year candidates. So like they had Timmy, they had that tall, lanky guy that was played for Oklahoma City Thunder that I will absolutely not mention his name. Stupid Chet. What kind of name is Chet? But yeah, this is going to be the powerhouse of the mid majors like it always is. I don't think there's any surprises there. Like they are the king of mid major.
Yeah,
I'm not as high up on Few. I think he does a lot less with more than most coaches and just doesn't get as much heat for it. In my opinion, y'all can kill me on this if you want. If you are getting a top 4 seed, the Sweet 16 is not the success. That's expected. And after that is where your success is. So anytime you're not making it to the 8, you did what you were supposed to. And he gets a lot of credit for making it to the Sweet 16. So it's not like he's fighting uphill. He's fighting downhill the whole time. But he does his part to get his team ready. And I think it's just the conference that they don't get to bang, and the level of competition is a shock when they get there. November, December, the guy schedules like a madman. I mean, this year you've got Oklahoma, Kentucky, UCLA, Bama, and Creighton. And that's an incredible schedule. And they travel the whole length of everywhere. They came out to Tennessee to play Tennessee. Like, he's not running scared of anybody. It's just, I think next year it'll do him a lot better to be in an actual conference where it's not 50-point win every other night.
Agreed, 100%.
Is that for sure going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Everything I've read, they're basketball only because I think they're a basketball only school. I don't know if they have football.
I know. Okay.
All their eggs in the Mark Few basket.
Which is a great basket. It's paid them quite well.
Yeah. It's done well. I mean, they've made a national title game, a couple Final Fours. I mean, everybody knows who Gonzaga is.
Well, and the thing is with Mark Few, I know he's turned down millions and millions of dollars to be hired elsewhere, but he's chosen to stay there because really he hits his ceiling, I guess, every year, and they put him. Gonzaga's relevant because of him. So I think he's just trying to ride that out in a lot of ways. But it'll be interesting to see if he were to call it quits. They move up. I mean, this kind of almost ensures that he's going to be their coach for another at least 3 to 5 years, just making it into that conference. Or maybe he doesn't want his legacy hurt when he realizes he's going to have a little bit more competition, which isn't saying much because it's the Pac-12 and they're hurting. But there's still talent there, like we talked about before. There's still talent around that conference. So
I mean, the guy's only 62, so he can.
Yeah,
he's got at least another 5-6 years in him if he wants.
That's wild.
I mean, Byrd is in the 70s.
We're talking about the WCC, and obviously Gonzaga is the Batman of the WCC. Do we want to talk about the Robin this year, the St. Mary's team, the Gales? I don't know if I have a tournament team here. I just want to kind of get your guys's. I feel like they're always worth mentioning because they're like the only real competition for Gonzaga in conference play, but I don't see the team this year. What do you guys think?
I mean, Randy Bennett is something.
I'm not a huge fan of Randy Bennett. I think he designs his team to do one thing and one thing only and beat Gonzaga once out of 2 to 3, maybe twice. He'll beat them twice in a year, and after that, he's like, okay, I've won my championship, I'm done. And it's just He plays a very slow, deliberate style. It's not fun, and I think that leads to being upset more than it doesn't in the tournament, because the less possessions, the more you have to be absolutely better, because the more possessions you get in, you have more margin for error. And in the tournament, crazy things happen, like guys pull up from 90 feet and it goes in and stuff like that in the first part of the game. So, like, he's not built to withstand that kind of stuff. He runs a solid program. It's very good coach. Just, I don't have faith in him to do much. I mean, they struggled to beat Vanderbilt last year in that 7-10 game, and I think didn't really deserve to win that game. The only reason they really got in was because they beat Gonzaga once, I think, at home. It's not like they're a perennial powerhouse going through like big scheduling, like at least that Mark Few does. This guy just designs his team to beat Gonzaga once or twice and calls it a year.
So I think this is where Brad and I are going to agree. I think the job description that he signed up for at St. Mary's is beat Gonzaga once or twice a year and make the tournament. If you can do that once every couple years, then you got job security, right? I think this is his assignment. This is like, hey, go out and win your Super Bowl, and then get us some of that tournament money, and then take the summer off. Find a team that's going to give Gonzaga fits, handle your business in conference, and then we'll see if we can sneak in a tournament bid. I don't see it on this year's team, but for the last like 5 or 6 years, every St. Mary's team has been designed exactly the way you said. It's been designed to beat Gonzaga and literally nothing else.
And then they've got like Harry Wessels. He's the big kind of a goofy fella, a big center. He kind of looks like he should be playing at Gonzaga.
He does, actually.
He kind of fits that profile in a lot of ways, but he seems to have a lot of promise. I was doing some research earlier this week and started digging in more to him. He's an old school kind of center, back to the basket guy, but I feel like St. Mary's depth is always going to be a problem. It's very hard to make a long run when you have as little depth as they have, but at the same time, they're gritty and they like a rock fight. I think I agree with you 100%. I think he's meeting the expectations he was hired to do.
He gets his annual review and he gets the 3. He's sitting in that like HR meeting with his boss and the HR rep for his annual review, and it's like you got your 1 through 5. The 5's not achievable, right? Unless you win a national championship, and that's like reserved for the highest of highs, and then your 4s are your Final Four guys. But he's like every year's gotten that 3. You are meeting expectations. Hey, I made a Sweet 16. Hey, you met expectations. Hey, I missed the tournament, but I beat Gonzaga once. 3, you met expectations.
Yeah, he's got one Sweet 16 in 25 years. I don't know. I expect more. I expect more out of him. Like, at some point, your expectations have to get raised.
I'm not sure if they're doing it.
If you all are happy with beating Gonzaga once and bragging about that all year as they beat you twice and absolutely show you what's what in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm
happy that you're happy.
I think prove us wrong table right now, where it's just like, hey, at some point, the Super Bowl's got to change. There for a minute, I thought, like, San Fran still has a chance. I don't think this is the team, and I'm not crazy about the coach there. When Todd Golden was there, Todd Golden's obviously an incredible coach, and he had San Fran fighting. I think that was the year they got 3 teams in the tournament with San Fran, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga. And I could be wrong, but Todd Golden might have won a game with San Francisco there before he took off to Florida to haunt me.
I think you might be right. That's interesting. What about San Francisco? What about for this year?
Yeah, I'm not there either.
It doesn't seem to be.
If you want to talk about him, Brad, I'll listen.
Yeah,
it's one of those that keeps popping up as like a high level mid major, but they don't look like they're returning anybody. And it just, I think Todd Golden was their ticket, and I can't even pronounce their coach's name currently. I can't even do it. He maybe he's a great guy. I don't know, but I can't pronounce it. And
look, speaking of
Coach G.
Speaking of not returning anybody and moving on to a different conference, Mountain West, a team that I've loved to watch for the last 3 or 4 years is New Mexico. And talk about a program that just went from like, hey, we're about to do something big, to just an absolute egg. This team, I am super, super low on the Mountain West in general, with the exception of like maybe 1 or 2 teams. And one of them I think is like going to be a powerhouse here soon. It's going to be like the new like 1A, 1B to Gonzaga. But looking at New Mexico, like losing your portal king, losing the coach, I mean, just a lot of scoring, a lot of minutes coming off of that team. It is looking bleak for New Mexico. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe we get some comments in here, but talk about a program that's just going in the absolute wrong direction.
This is what shocks me at the mid majors at this level. Like, you know, the big boy jobs are going to come calling if you string a couple good years together. How do you not have a short list of guys that are just like at the level below you at the Mountain West that you're ready to go grab? Because there's guys out there that are absolutely producing and with way less talent and way less resources. It shocked me at where they went hiring, and then it's like they waited a long enough time to do that, and then they didn't refill anything they had. Let Donovan Dent. I mean, they didn't let Donovan Dent go. They probably can't outdo UCLA, but it's just crazy to me that, I don't know, maybe there's got to be something I'm missing, because to not refill on that is wild to me. Like, to not be prepared a year in advance for Patino to leave, because you know Patino wanted to get back to the power school teams. He's like his dad. He wants to be at the top of the world, and so it's I don't know. It shocks me they're not more for that.
This is a sports car driving with two flat tires right now, guys. This is like it was fun to look at for a few years, but yeah, you're right. It's just going in the wrong direction.
Oh, and Eric Golan is a young dude. Like, he's a young guy, young coach, and I feel like he hasn't been around for that much.
No.
I don't think he has a ton of experience.
No, I think 1, maybe 2 years, something like that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you have guys out there that are absolutely killing it, and like the guy South Florida hired out of Arkansas State was the head recruiter at Bama that brought in like Brandon Miller and all them. Like, that should have been higher. He should have been higher on your list versus, because he went to Arkansas.
Totally agree with that.
25 plus games 2 years in a row. It's not like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And then, so we talked about New Mexico a little bit, and then we got to talk about another big guy, San Diego State.
So I am high on San Diego State, and look, I'm gonna call out other basketball guys that beat me to this. I think Ryan Hammer put out a video on San Diego State the other day. I love his stuff.
It's almost like it's his full-time job.
This team I'm extremely high on. I think this is going to be San Diego State made a national title game a couple years ago. They're now a perennial tournament threat. They're a team that they're scheduling aggressive and non-con, and they don't have the toughest conference schedule this year. So I expect a reasonable seed from these guys. But like Miles Byrd coming in, I'm really excited to see him play. Guas coming back, that dude is blocking everything. That guy is just an absolute beast. Doesn't score a lot, but gets boards, gets blocks, good rim protection guy. Got a couple really good transfers coming in. One top 100 freshman and a 4-star coming in. And Simmons and Harrington was the top 100 guy. Well coached, well built program, sustainable success. This is a team that I'm really, really high on for this year and going forward. You know, until they get plucked, this is a team that it's just going to be fun to watch all year. And then come tournament time, when you look at your bracket and you see San Diego State in it, you're not going to be happy about it. Especially if they come in at like a 6 or 7, you get one of those higher seeds that are just going to be like, you got to be kidding me. I got to play San Diego State. This is not going to be fun. But yeah, I'm excited to watch them all year. Out of all the mid-majors, this is the team I'm most excited about. I think they have the most upside, the most potential outside of your built-in cheat code with Gonzaga and the WCC. This is the Mountain West has got a big one in San Diego State.
Yeah, Miles Byrd's a good fun to watch. He seems to be a stud. He's just a great two-way player. I think he can work his way into making some real good cash in the future if he keeps it up. And then BJ Davis as well is another guy that I was kind of researching. He seems to create shots well. He gets into open spots. I actually watched some San Diego State game from late last season. It was like that. They're one of those teams that, like you said, they will beat you to death.
Yeah.
And they will run you ragged. That's not somebody you want to see early. And Sam, you brought that seeding. I had not thought about that, but that is a dangerous place for that team to be, is in that 6-7 seed in the tournament.
Yep.
That's not where you want to see them at all.
Brian Dutcher is just a very underrated, underloved coach. The guy is absolutely insane. Took the job in 2017, and he's got like a 70-something% winning percentage, 198. 68. He's got 3 regular season titles and 3 tournament titles with 6 tournament appearances. That probably should have been 7. 7 tournament appearances with probably should have been 8 with COVID. I mean, he's got San Diego State to the 4, which is incredible. Had them in a title game with a shot to win it. It's
Had a big part of recruiting the Fab Five to Michigan.
I mean, he followed Fisher out to San Diego State, I believe, too, because they play way out west and they play in a mid-major conference. He's not getting enough shout out. And I mean, this team returns almost 62% of their minutes from last year.
Yeah.
And very well could have had a much higher number if they could have found a way to hold on to. He transferred to Michigan, I think. Maybe started to beat Boyd.
Yep.
Who was on the final.
Well, that's right.
There's a decent chance that you're looking at a top 4 seed that is going to be undefeated because of who they have to play, which is going to be absolutely dangerous for any power team that comes slightly limping in, because the way Dutcher plays, that is a mean defense that will beat on you and is relentless for all 40 minutes. And when you have the offensive talent like Byrd and Williams, it's going to be, or Byrd and Davis. This team is an absolute powder keg.
I agree for sure.
100%.
Dan, what were you saying, buddy?
I said 100% agree.
So San Diego State now they have an awesome court. I always felt they have an awesome. Their court logo looks sick. Yeah. I've always felt like that. So maybe Arizona should pay attention.
It's almost like playing at Southfield High School, you know.
That's what I've always thought, because I always thought it's like this big. I love like the big logo in the middle.
It's a very pure, simple court. It is beautiful. Like the paint is red and the logo is big and bold. It stands out. It's beautiful. It's simple. Take a picture of it, Arizona, give it to your designers and have them fix that monstrosity.
Yeah. Or just give it to me, because I could do something better on Canva, because that's what it looked like that they made it on. But I do feel like that there's going to be a lot of times during the season that I'm going to make comments about the court. So I'm going to save my comments for when that happens, when games are being rolled through. But I do get really annoyed about courts. When guys are standing, they hit a shot from the corner because they're too scared to step out of bounds because there's not a big enough difference in between the two. It drives me nuts. So that'll definitely be a recurring thing. What about South Florida? What's going on with those guys?
This is my baby. This is the one I've been on for a long time.
Okay.
I was super high on them a couple years ago when they hired Amir Abdul-Rahim. That was so excited for that, because I thought he was an incredible coach at Kennesaw State. Man, that was such a tragedy. The heart still breaks for his family. I mean, to die at 43 is just ridiculous and sucks. But I thought they did a great job of hiring Brian Hodgson as like an extremely good replacement. He was, like I said earlier, top recruiter from Bama that brought in like your Brandon Miller team and all that. And last year, he takes Arkansas State to Bama, has a 9-point loss, and beats Memphis on the road, and finished first in the Sun Belt in his second year as a head coach. Like, the guy knows ball. He's good. Like, the team's old, but I don't know how much we count the fact that it has 8 seniors, because the only returning player is C.J. Brown, who's a sophomore. I don't know. It's a brand new team, brand new coach. Last year, he had his Arkansas State team up in the round top 50-ish for tempo, so they're going to be fun to watch. Here's a name y'all going to laugh at. Omajafo was an incredible get. He's a great shooter, averaged around 11, shot 44 from the floor, 38 from deep. Devin Hayde was also another great shooter. It's like he just picked up a bunch of guards that were great shooters. He shot 49 from the floor and 32 from deep. Xavier Brown, another great shooter. Then he brought Joseph Pinion and Isaiah Nelson with him from Arkansas State. Both were averaging double digits. Nelson led the team in blocks and rebounds and was carrying the team in the NIT tournament before they lost. He was just killing it. But then he also lands Damian Collins from LSU in a historically good. You see, the guy played 20 minutes a night and led the LSU in blocks. I don't know how teams are going to score around the rim on this team between Collins and Nelson, but they've got a ton of rim protection. Everybody's very athletic. It's going to be a fast team, loads of shooters. I will call it now. They're going to win the American. They're the best team coming out of the American, and I think they're going to be dangerous come tournament time.
See, as you were talking, Jake, I was Googling the roster because I had already crowned Memphis. I think Memphis is scheduled tougher. They're going to be in that Baja Mar, so they're going to be playing Purdue early on, so we'll get to see a really good test from the perennial top of that conference. But I was kind of looking at this roster, and you said that you're not sure who's going to score around the rim with Nelson and Collins. I said anybody who's got reasonable size, because you're looking at 6'10", 6'9". If you put a 7-footer out there that's got any kind of mobility or body on them, I'm looking at this roster. I'm like, these are the kind of guys that TKR would just eat alive. And of course, I'm always using the Purdue standard, right? So I'm like looking at teams like whenever I look at a team that had Cliff Amari on it, and I know we're gonna have to like do the fun editing because I mentioned his name again, but like whenever he played Zach Edey, I was like, this is a guy that's gonna give him fits. And I'm looking at like Nelson and Collins and be like, man, I hope that Purdue sees this South Florida team in the tournament because I think we'll eat them alive. But to your point, as I was looking here, the big question mark might be like the saving grace here, because what Hodgson's has done is put together a team of scorers and hard-nosed basketball players. Your average height on this team is about 6'6", 6'7".
I didn't say they were going to be kings of rebound.
Not small, not light, but not heavy. If I'm really comparing these guys to anybody, I'm kind of looking at this as like a mirror image of the IU basketball team. You got a lot of transfers coming in, a lot of new faces. Same question mark, but it's also kind of like that same like mystery bag. You open up the pack of cards, you're not sure what you're going to get. And this team, I think you're going to see a little bit of the same thing. Much weaker conference in the American. We'll see how they do against Memphis, because now that I'm looking at them, listening to you guys talk about them, like I'm kind of getting more excited about them.
I love South Florida. I've been high on them for a minute, but I'm also very anti-Memphis. You're looking at a bunch of failed experiments at several different schools, and you think Penny Hardaway's the guy to get the most out of them?
He's been the one who's gotten the most out of them for the last few years. Memphis is still on the map because it's Memphis, right? After Calipari destroyed that program, like Penny Hardaway has been the one that's kind of put him back on relevance, and he's not done a great job, but he's also not done bad. This is the same deal. This is a brand new team, Jake.
Yeah, and like I said, I trust the coach of South Florida. Yeah, I trust him a whole heck of a lot more than I do Penny, because Penny, man, like he seems to. Now, I will give him credit for this. He's got a lot of the Dana Altman syndrome, where struggles in the non-conference, struggles in the first part, and then gets playing well towards tournament time, and then drops the ball in the tournament. But I don't see it on this team. I'm not a big fan of the pieces either, really. I wasn't a huge fan of Doug McDaniel. There's a reason he left Michigan and then went to Kansas State, which was arguably a step down, and then taking another step down in the next year. You've got a bunch of guys like that are taking steps down, not steps up, and I just not a big fan of Penny as a coach.
No, I would never put in my money on a Memphis team, just because of Penny. I just think he's a child, and I can't get over. I mean, I'll be honest. A lot of it has to do with the way that he's talked about Tennessee, and in his interactions with Rick Barnes. Here's the deal: Rick Barnes has never, that I've seen publicly, cite anybody, except he flat out brushed off Penny after the last time we played him, and pretty much literally ran right past him. So that doesn't happen very often. I think that says a lot of who I think Penny is. But maybe that's a cheap.
Look, hey guys, this is an incredibly weak conference.
Yeah. We're talking about the only two teams that matter in the American.
Yeah, these are the only two teams that matter. So we got to give him some love, because he's made a tournament, but I guess it's gonna be fun to see what happens when Memphis plays Purdue this fall. Only because like if they're competitive, then the American,
it's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be an absolute slaughtering.
It's a bloodbath. I don't think that any of us are gonna be surprised, because you got another big question mark team here. They're returning absolutely nobody.
And also Matt Painter, king of the preseason tournaments.
Yes. I would trade all 5 of those damn things for one national title or one more Final Four. Just lay an egg in the preseason tournament and just get to a
fill up the trophy case.
Get us a banner so we can shut up IU fans. We get to listen to a bunch of 30, 40-year-old IU fans talk about national titles they've never seen.
I'll give Memphis this. I do feel like if Dane Danger, if he got that extra year of eligibility, I think that might have helped him out a little bit, but I don't think it'd be enough to make a huge difference. It's almost like a Ziegler situation for them, potentially. That definitely could have helped. But now, okay, here's a team that I think it's kind of fun, and I'm curious to know what Charles' thoughts are. What about Dayton? And we're kind of jumping around here, but I'm a big fan of the Dayton Flyers.
Look, I'm with you, Brad. I've been a fan of this program for a while. It's weird that Dayton's not producing a National Player of the Year candidate out of this roster. I feel like that's like something that they always just kind of like always do. Like the last few years, like there's always been like top and one won it, but then you had, you know, a couple guys come through there where it's just like they were in that top 5, top 6 conversation of National Player of the Year. And they just don't have that in this roster, but they're playing in the A10. I think the only 2 other teams in the A10 that are even remotely worth mentioning is George Mason and George Washington. So I don't know if there's really anything stopping them from getting to a tournament. I don't think this is the best team that they've fielded in the last few years, but I think this is a conference winner. It's Dayton. They're well built and they're like that thorn in the side of everybody in the country when it comes tournament time. Is here comes Dayton. Where are they going to be though this year? Are they going to be like that 5 or 6 or 7 that we've seen them at, or are they going to be closer to that 10 or 11, maybe even a playing game? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing exceeding expectations out of this roster, but I'm also seeing like, yeah, you're probably going to win the A10.
I don't like Anthony Anderson. If your goal is to be in the NIT, he's your guy. Like
Anthony Grant,
very good at that.
Anthony.
Now, I would love to see a team coached by Anthony Anderson, though. That would be a very fun.
Totally different story. That's what he did to Bama. NIT. I think he made one tournament there. Has done the same thing at Dayton so far. NIT, no postseason. NIT. Hey, made the round of 32. NIT. But there's also some missed tournaments in there. And you're talking about teams that had Player of the Year type candidates. If you can't get to the tournament when you've got a guy that's arguably in the top 10 players in the nation, and you can't get through the A10 to get to the tournament, like that says something about you. It's just shocking because the A10 has not been ultra competitive here recently in the last handful of years. They've put out a couple good teams, but as on the whole, they've not been that competitive. Like VCU's been down. St. Bonaventure had a year where they were good, but then were not the next year. I don't know. So I think he's going to hold them back more than he's going to coach them up, and that's where I feel with Dayton. It's just unfortunate because I like it when Dayton's good. And they're running the table and doing a lot of fun stuff, but he's just not the guy.
Yeah, I think everything hinges on Frenchy. Frenchy, which is, I can't say his name, guys. Paul Latang. He's a French fella, and I mean the dude is a stud, and I think they'll like pretty much everything's going to ride on him. The offense is going to run through him, 100%. I think he seems like a Grant guy. Like he seems like that kind of player that he would like to coach and likes to have on his team, which is why he's there. I'm pretty interested to see how this dude plays. I think based off of, I know a few folks in Ohio and that are Dayton fans and kind of, bent their ear a little bit and asking them about these different things. And I kind of heard that, with losing Malachi Smith was obviously a hit. They kind of brushed it off when I talked to them about it, but I still think Malachi Smith would have been nice to have on the squad. The dude's talented. Like, I know that he may have had his own struggles and he might have had his own kind of hiccups along the way, but the dude can ball. Frenchy's going to be the guy to watch.
You got a dark horse in George Washington. They're returning around half their minutes on a fairly decent team last year. They had some injuries to some guard. They really need a lot of guard to step up. I think Purdue filled some gaps with Hunger and Benjamin there. Rafael Castro is an incredible player if you watch him play. He's very good back to the bucket. Led the team blocks, rebounds, points last year. If he gets the guard play to step up, they're going to be dangerous. But, I mean, that's a big if. So I say it's a dark horse. Anytime in a league that's going to be as clustered as the A10 always is, return a big chunk of your minutes. The experience bodes well. Add a couple of transfers in, and that could be the difference. Stay healthy, and maybe they go. I don't know what I'm saying. Like out of the 18 games, they win 12 of them. Then you're looking at a better seed in the tournament, and maybe winning the conference tournament to get to the big dance.
Look, if it's a down year for Dayton, I think it's the biggest opportunity for a team like that to sneak in and do it. I just don't know. Some of these conferences, as we dove deep into them, it was just like, man, there's just not a lot here. There's some big names that you think like you're going to see some darlings, but yeah, some of these conferences, like maybe some surprise team is going to sneak in here that we haven't talked about, and then we get to hear it in the comments and be like, hey, you missed out on our boys, and be like, yeah, we did, and so did the rest of the country. So lump us in with the rest here.
Let me throw something out there, all right? What would you think would be the Gonzaga of the next decade?
San Diego State.
But, well, okay.
San Diego State.
I don't think
San
it's
Diego
possible to
State
get
is
there.
going to be the powerhouse mid-major for the next several years until they get eaten up by a big conference.
I just, with the NIL and how the transfer portal stuff works, I don't know that you can build a dynasty program anymore, like at a mid-major level, because you're going to get eaten by the big schools. It's like you're going to develop a guy 2.5, 2 years in, and then he's going to jump to Tennessee, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, any of those schools. Because and team up with his other friends from around the country and put together an all-star team that goes off and does things. Because few had the advantage of transfers had to sit out a year and not everybody could pay everybody, and so he was able to build a program and get the reputation to where he's no longer really, in most people's mind, a mid-major. Like, it's Gonzaga and the mid-major. It's not like he's the front man to the band. I just don't know that San Diego State is the one that can do it, because they've got a little bit of the reputation going right now. But I just don't think, even Grand Canyon, they've been good for the last 4 years, but nothing fancy, and their best player just left to go to Gonzaga instead of staying there. So you're gonna run into that all the time, and that's just an unfortunate part of the college basketball landscape right now.
Look, if San Diego State can keep their coach and keep their winning percentage, I think they stave off a lot of that, because people will be interested in coming to play for San Diego State and getting an almost an automatic tournament berth because of the conference that they play in. And then obviously, I think as some of these power conferences expand, I would not be surprised to see San Diego State get swallowed up, because, you got a resurgence in the Big 12 is gobbling up as many teams as they can. The Big Ten's are all the way out in California right now. So, I mean, they're going to be on some of these conferences' radar. But San Diego State's, it's been that perennial team that has just been more and more successful as the years have gone by, and they've survived some of the NIL stuff. In fact, when NIL was kind of first taken off, they made a national title game and they were a surprise team. Anybody that watched them were probably not surprised, but then, obviously they ran into UConn, and UConn just mopped the floor with them. But if they keep getting national attention like that and they can keep their coach, they're not going anywhere. But to your point, Jake, the team might get swallowed up. The players might get swallowed up. It's a different water they're swimming in these days.
This is my familiarity with the school. I don't know. Do they have the kind of money to save off that stuff? If they want to commit to being like Gonzaga, and do they have the kind of money to offer these guys to keep them there versus, because we know all your power schools, like your Dukes, your Kentuckys and stuff, are willing to spend $20+ million on a roster. Are you going to be able to fight hard enough to keep them? That's where it's.
See, I think that's where I think you hit the nail on the head. They've got to be willing to commit and do that. So it's almost like you're almost predicting what's happened to Dayton. Dayton was able to get National Player of the Year candidates every other year, right? And now they don't have that, because those guys are going to Kansas, they're going to Purdue, they're going to UConn, they're going to Duke. They're getting swallowed up by bigger bucks, and the top ends aren't going to Dayton anymore. So same thing with San Diego State. You might start seeing that too.
Something that's be interesting, I just kind of thought about, the whole international thing with these guys can play professional over there. They come over here and play college.
Different.
Is wild. Because that could lead, because if you hired the right people, you could develop the pipeline and become something like Gonzaga that way, if you're finding the right guys. But I mean, you'd have to be on that now, because all the top teams are picking off top talent over there already. So,
like Tommy Lloyd has for the last 5 or 6 years, and Underwood's doing now with Serbia.
Well, your Omar Meyer guy, Dame Sarr at Duke.
Yeah.
Tennessee has one of those Israeli guys and a French guy. It's just an interesting college basketball world that I'm excited to see how that part in particular plays out. As much as I love basketball here, it'll never compare, but the European game is a lot of fun to watch, because it's a lot more strategic and because the athletes just aren't there yet.
Right. Well, and one thing I want to say about San Diego State is that, I mean, Brian Dutcher is never going to leave.
Why is that? Honestly, I have no clue. Why is he in love with San Diego?
I just think he's been there for a long time. He's an older guy.
Is he? I don't know. I know he followed Fisher out there, and I know he started in 2017, but I don't know how old he is.
Just I looked it up earlier. Doesn't matter. He's an older fella. Well, I mean, 65. That's not that old. So maybe he could be enticed to do it. But he's been there since '99 when he was an assistant head coach, and then he's been there. Yeah, I mean, he's been there. That's a long time. I don't see him. I'm sure he's been offered many times.
I just
It makes you wonder why he hasn't jumped.
Well, I wonder how much of that Fab Five stain kind of hit him, because he was big into bringing that in.
Well, yeah. I think that and this just shows again why we're not in the starting five of podcasts when it comes to college basketball. But for me, I read something, and I may be just pulling this out of nowhere, but I've been literally trying to find this article that I read that about South Florida having one of the richest mid-major budgets in terms of NIL spending and revenue sharing. And so I kind of wonder if, and I mean, obviously this would never happen because I would literally die, but if a Danny White kind of athletic director would get into a South Florida space, I kind of wonder if they could really make something happen. Because it sounds like they do have some money, so they could be the next Gonzaga. What?
Alex Golich is there. They're still our offensive coordinator. He's the head coach of football there now.
Yeah. And doing dang well. Well, because he had Alabama on the ropes, right?
Yeah, I think
last year it was somebody. He got him real close. Yeah, we'll definitely get corrected on that one, but we'll take it. We're not that fragile. But there was one other. I feel like there was one other person I was thinking of. That could be the next Gonzaga.
I think it's got to be a basketball-only school.
Right? I think so, too. Like a Drake or even, I mean, I think Drake would even be a stretch. No offense to the folks in Des Moines, Iowa. Beautiful place, beautiful arena, great campus, beautiful school, great university. But
if Drake can hold a coach,
that's the biggest thing. I feel like they just...
Well, they're just Iowa's... They're Iowa's developmental league is what they are.
Yeah.
Iowa State and Iowa are picking off any talent local, and they have bigger budgets and a bigger wallet and bigger stick. The only reason I bring up San Diego State is because at the very least the success has been sustained. And they're the only real answer to Gonzaga as far as like mid-major Batman. You know, that's the only other team that's right now, in my opinion, on the radar.
I thought it might have been Grand Canyon, but if they can't,
that's again.
If Gonzaga's coming in and taking your best player, you can't say we're the Batman to their Superman.
Yep, going backwards.
Well, what coach might be? Who's the biggest, I guess, like hot ticket coach to come out of the mid majors for this year? That you see coming up. Obviously, a lot of that magic's going to happen in March Madness, but definitely they've got to work their way to that point. Do you have some names in mind? I know we had some mentions earlier, but I kind of want to I want to highlight those guys.
Look, since I'm a broken record today, Brian Dutcher. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes and picks him off. He's 65, but he's, like Jake said, he's got a 70% winning percentage at San Diego State, and I know that's attractive to a lot of programs. Is he wanting to like just kind of ride this out into the sunset, or does he want to go somewhere and try to win one again? Because he's had the taste of a Final Four on his lips. Does he want that again? Does he go somewhere that's got an opportunity to build a big program around him? Or does San Diego State really commit to the basketball program and say, hey, you got 5 years left. Here's as much money as we're willing to throw at your program until all the rules change again. But Brian Dutcher is the coach right now that the mid-majors, I can guarantee you every big program is like, hey, is this guy interested in leaving?
I like Drew out of Grand Canyon. I think he is one that who really knew what Grand Canyon had and then he's made them into like a team that most people think they're going to make the tournament year in, year out now. So I like him. I think he's a good coach. He had his chance at Vandy, and it didn't go well, so I don't know if that counts against him. But he's kind of reforged it himself. I think we're a couple years away, but Hodgson, I really like him from Arkansas State in South Florida. He's very, very, very good, and he's clearly wanting to take step up quick too. And so I think he might not be as discerning as Dutcher would be with what job comes in. I think he might, as soon as it comes in with a Power 5 or Power 4, whatever the number is, tag, he probably jumps on it. And he's done the hard part at that level, being like a head recruiter. So I assume that's the hardest part of the job. Like I feel like everybody at that level can coach basketball. I assume recruiting's the hard part, but that is just my theory.
Bryce Drew was a great call out because the dude's only 50 years old. If you're a program looking to build something long term, you got 15, 20 years out of that guy. So like strike while the iron's hot. If GCU can maintain or regain some of the success that they've had over the last few years, then yeah, Bryce Drew is a hot commodity.
I like Bryce Drew a lot. I thought that was a great hire by Vanderbilt when they hired him, and I kind of feel like it was a symptom of the COVID issues. I thought it just something didn't work out. I really don't know. Like that was just kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I feel like he didn't get a shake because I think he was at Valparaiso State or something like that before then.
Yeah, I think he was coaching.
Because they made a tournament run. And I remember watching them, and I'm like, hey, I like this guy. There's something about him. He's got some swag to him, and seems like a good dude. But I've really liked watching him. And actually, I think he had some decent. I don't think he did a bad job coaching at Vanderbilt. I just think that it wasn't a good fit. I just don't think there's a lot of alignment. But I think Bryce Drew is the ticket that is hottest, right behind, unfortunately, Brian Hodgson. I can't say that very well.
Yeah, it's.
I've got feel about allergies, and I'm nailing it.
Hodgson, yeah, But the dude, Jake's already said it. Everything that makes this guy great. But the only thing that makes me think that it may not result in him bouncing is if South Florida will pay up.
Right.
So if there is some opportunity there, that's where I'm leaning more towards that Bryce Drew being that kind of that hot ticket for a leveled up job.
And I'm not sure if he's quite there yet. I'll let y'all knock me down on this. But I love Waddel out of Bradley. He's super young. He's like 45. Not making the NCAA tournaments. But the Missouri Valley is an underrated conference for how competitive it is. It is a very tough conference. He had Green Bay in back-to-back NITs. Then he goes to Bradley and is improved.
That guy, yes.
He did. He made the one tournament, got beat, whatever, and probably had back-to-back tournaments for that team. Well, definitely did because they won the conference championship. So he had back-to-back tournaments that just didn't happen. And then he's got this team playing well. They were then on T quarterfinals last year. He's a very good coach, and he's not working with a lot of resources there at Bradley. He might be, but I also think he's a little bit too young right now and not as proven as a power program wants. So he might need to make a step up to like the Mountain West or something like that and do it a couple times before he gets the big boy jobs.
Yeah,
go ahead, Sam.
He's won 2 MVC tournaments and an MVC regular season. So, and he's 45 years old. Jake, your point is spot on. This guy's got 20, 25 years of coaching left. This is another strike while the iron's hot because the guy's a proven winner. He won their regular season 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think
my allergies are absolutely killing me, folks. So if this comes through as really annoying, tune in, comment, tell me how stupid my red hair is and my red eyes. So it's nothing I can do about it, folks.
I also got to say Bradley is another one of those great schools. That's Peoria, beautiful place, beautiful school, a really nice arena. Like there's some chance there. If somebody could put in some money to kind of back that thing up, there could be I feel like that could be a really strong school. But, we'll see. I need to look more into that. I forgot about him, Jake. That's a good call out. I need to look back around on that.
I am a college basketball junkie, and I love watching the Missouri. Like, I will find those games to watch them because it's just a competitive conference with like Belmont, Murray, Drake last year. Yeah, not obviously, but like just all the teams, and most of them sit around Illinois, are just a lot of fun, and it's very competitive. All the teams seem about the same level. There's a couple stragglers, but there's never like a dominated conference. It's always fun to watch.
See, folks, this is what you need to watch our videos, like and subscribe, follow us on socials, because this allows us to justify to our wives that we need to sit and watch more college basketball. Yes. Because on Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, when I'm locked into whatever's going on in the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Big East, and then catching a mid-major game, and this is the kind of stuff that's really, really going to justify us watching this stuff. So, again, I'm plugging us right now because we're actually getting some traction on YouTube a little bit. So if you guys want to tune in, watch, like, subscribe, we'll take whatever. If you guys want to just get on here and just bash the hell out of us for our bad takes, we're good with that too, because we all have jobs.
We'll be your punching bag. Drop your hot take on us. It's fine.
That's right. The starting five is taking care of things. And I'm feeling pretty comfortable. But I think it's time we got to go finish this thing out. Unfortunately, this is a 30-point loss that we're having to come in on, so I'm sure Coach should be thrilled in the locker room. But
practice, great.
We've got to go. We've got to do our jobs. So let's get in there and make it happen.
Yep.
See you all next week.
Let's see if we can get on the stat sheet.
There you go.
And if you made it this far, you're already part of the bench mob. So hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more chaos. Benchpoints is on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you pretend to know ball.